Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and watching the Cypress Sports Show, brought to you by Coach's Corner, your go-to spot before and after the game. I'm Jeff Russell here with Mark Slevcove. As always, Coach, today is a special day. It's kind of weird. Today is our 100th episode.
I didn't think we would make it to 2, let alone 100.
We're going to discuss some things, and looking back to our very first episode, I don't even know how we got through episode 1. But here we are, 100 episodes later, millions of views on YouTube.
Well, seconds of views.
Millions of seconds of views. That might even be too much as well. But a lot for us to talk about. So this week, actually, no guests for us. We're just going to kind of look back at some of the highlights, some of the cool moments that we've had over the past 100 episodes. Thank all the people that have been involved in it, because it does take a lot of people to get involved to be able to do this. It's not just us. There's plenty of other people doing it. But before we get to all that, let's take a look at what's actually going on this week, and then we'll get back to that.
All right, here's our spring sports update. The baseball team won their last game Thursday afternoon versus Damien, 8-2. Nick Montgomery hit his first home run of the year. Aiden Franco got the win on the mound. And despite the team's 3-4 start, the LA Times still has us ranked number 19 in the Southland Orange County Register, has us ranked number 7 in the county. And the boys have another tough week this week with the home-and-home series versus Jay Serra on Tuesday and Thursday, along with the game at Miracosta on Saturday. The softball team went 4-2 in the Dave Copps tournament in Bullhead City this last weekend. We had home run hitters in Arizona: Taylor Monteleone, Sadie Sievers, and Maddie Granados going big fly. Back in town this week, the girls take on Sunny Hills and Mayfair. Boys volleyball team doesn't have a game this week as they prepare for the opening of league play next week on Tuesday. In boys tennis, they've had a busy week, or they have a busy week this week, taking on Huntington Beach, Servite, and Yorba Linda, as Coach Paul prepares our boys for a CIF Division I playoff bracket in a few months. Track and field opens up the Empire League season at Crean Lutheran on Tuesday. I look forward to hearing about their times and their performances in the league opener. Boys golf lost a close match last week to Portola by 3 strokes. Caden Desai led the way for the boys, and then a few of them got to play in the Glendora tournament on Monday at Glendora Country Club as sophomore Taylor Reeser led the way for the Centurions. The swim team finally opens their season with a non-league meet versus Oxford on Thursday. So next week we'll see some of the results from that first meet against Oxford. And badminton is off to a hot start, going 2-0 to start Empire League play with victories over Cerritos and Marina.
Yeah, that's super cool. A lot of stuff going on, as always, in the spring. But why are we here today, Coach? We're here to look back, right? We're here to take a peek back at those 100 episodes. All 100 of them we're going to look at today. This is going to be a long show. No, but we are going to take a look back and kind of look at some of the highlights of this legendary show. I mean, to quote Coach Dole, because we always do, it's legendary, right? Like it's the best. So anyways, lots of highlights for sure for us to relive.
That's right. Let's relive some of the moments that have made us laugh. Remember some of the guests we've had and reminisce about all the success Cypress Sports, Cypress Athletics has had, and the guests that we've had to bring on. We've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said earlier, we can only do so much here by ourselves. The biggest person behind the scenes you don't always see is our teach, Mr. D. So, Mr. Delgado, where are you?
Mr. D.
Mr. D.
Here I am. Now you can put a face and a name together.
There we go. So Mr. Delgado is definitely the guy that brings all the cool stuff into the show. We're going to look back a little bit today, do some trivia, do some cool stuff. So we appreciate you and all your work. So I know it's not easy.
It's great, being here from the start to 100, just like you guys were saying. It's amazing. And just to see your growth, students' growth, the school's growth, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to be able to produce this. So the privilege is mine, gentlemen.
That's right. I don't remember exactly, Coach, when you came up with the idea of doing this, but it was sometime coming out of COVID, right? We were coming back to campus and we were trying to find a way, or you were trying to find a way to highlight the kids, and you said, let's do a weekly show. We'll get Mr. Delgado to film it, and I don't know how it happened, but here we are.
Do you remember those conversations?
Oh, I remember those conversations. Yes.
Yeah, it was just a way coming out of that, right? I mean, we didn't get a lot of stuff and weren't able to do a lot of stuff during that time. And I wanted to just make sure we had the highlights, right? Keep athletics in focus during that and give something positive, hopefully, in a time that maybe wasn't that positive. We had great leadership at that time as well on campus. We had, Dr. Hodgson there, Mr. Pfeiffer, who were very supportive of a lot of the things that we were doing as well throughout the show, and you really made it happen. And without you, that we definitely
it wouldn't happen.
No, it
wouldn't
happen.
happen.
So thank you.
Well, thanks, guys. But it's a big part of the school, and just again, privileged to work with you.
Awesome.
Appreciate that.
Well, thank
Thank
you,
you,
Teach. Yeah, Mr. D. Man, I tell you what, I don't necessarily remember the exact time, but I do remember coming to you with that and just kind of going through it. And I can't believe it actually worked out.
Right. Yep. How about our first guest? Do you remember where we were? Where was episode 1, and who do we have out there with us?
Yeah, so we didn't know what we were doing at that point in time, but our first shot at it was in the quad. Hey, welcome to Cyber Sports Weekly. We're starting a new program here. We try to get some information out about the athletics program and kind of what's going on, and have you guys meet some coaches and get some information. So my name is Jeff Russell. I'm the athletic director here. I got Mark Slevcove next to me, also an athletic director here, and our special guest today, Coach Feldman. I remember specifically the wind, and we moved around to about 4 locations, I think, at the time, until we found a location that was sort of windless.
And we had to be outside, right? We couldn't be inside, had to have masks on, so we had to find a spot outside because of COVID restrictions.
Yeah, so we had to do that, and we were during the football season, so, our first big guest there was Coach Feldman. Coach Feldman out on, of course, we had to sit a couple feet away, which made it even more logistically difficult for the sound people to kind of get the sound. But if you look back to that first one to where we are now, you see that we've come absolutely nowhere.
No. I remember I got a text from my buddy after that first show, and he went, "Whew, that was rough."
You're still texting. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. Good luck.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks,
Good luck,
guys.
Coach.
Bye.
Do you remember, so we got our first guest, Coach Feldman. What about the next guest? Do you remember that?
Well, I know we had some students on, so I think after the students and after Coach Feldman, we were going through the fall sports, and we had Coach Alex from girls volleyball on, and she. I'm surprised she was able to connect to the internet to make the show show up on Google Meets, but she did.
Somehow I think we actually set up the
we set it up for her. I think,
but she made it. Sunglasses on her head and all, but she was there. Well, with Feldman as the first guest, we know then that we probably had some student guests as well. Those were football guys. Our first guests on the show. Do you remember those football guys that we had, Coach?
So I know I was impressed with the football guys, and really just impressed with so many of the student athletes that came on. Their poise, their personalities, the character and their work ethic really shined. And in that first one, I went, "Whoa, these guys are impressive." And that was Matt Morrell, and then Big George, Ialome, who's off the charts student, go to Georgetown. Awesome. Academically, really impressive, and he was just so articulate. And knowledgeable and really impressive.
Just like, my mentality is I take it really personal, so I'll look at this dude across from me. I say, this guy's coming to, take Dylan's head off. So I got to make sure that I do everything in my power to stop him on the line, to put him in the ground, to make sure that he doesn't get anywhere near my quarterback or my running back. So I just take it very personal. And even when I practice, I practice with the intent to do that on the field as well.
And we learned from that first show, we brought up people inside, put them in different rooms so that we could talk to them. And I think you touched on that. We've really learned, we don't always get that chance to talk to a student for an extended amount of time. Talking to them and just really listening, and they were so well-spoken. George, just so eloquent in everything he said. And then we've continued to see that throughout the episodes. These students are unbelievable what they can do. The 5 C's. I mean, coming out, right? Like, I mean, they really, without even trying, really do a great job.
Right, and that was when we had Alex on in volleyball. We had Zoe Henson, who was a junior, and then Julia Pete, who was ASV vice president. And then you just saw their personalities and their relationship with coach and how they can interact with each other. It's why we're here, right? The coaching is fun because of the kids you get to work with, the relationships you get to develop, and we get to see that when we were interviewing them.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
And then we got a couple non-athletes on the show. We tried to bring in some people during the course of the year, some students, but not the athletes, but the ones leading all of our students.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to connect people to just athletics in general, and we had ASB on, and I think that first non-athlete person, Joey Hannafin, and it's been great to watch him. Great to listen to him as he went through kind of the process of ASB and how they do things and how to like really try to get people going. So that was cool.
Joey was really involved in the student section and trying to organize the groups of students to get out there to cheer for our teams, and he was quite a leader.
Yeah.
How about the non-staff members? Who were our first non-staff members that we got on to come as special guests?
Yeah, that's been great. We really, I think now focus a little more on student stuff, and you get back to getting some of those off-campus guests. But of course, our guy,
Watch Ray,
Rashawn Haylock.
You were the guy that gave me my first shot. My first job out of college was right there with you at Cypress.
How do you not have Rashawn as the first guy on the show? His personality, I mean, he's on TV every day, so it's super easy for him. But we've definitely had others. We've had Adam Brady from the Anaheim Ducks. We've had CIF Commissioner and Assistant Commissioner Rob Wygod and Reiner Wolf.
Now, don't forget, when Commish Wygod was on, that guy can talk and talk and talk. So Mr. Delgado let us know that was our longest episode as well. That took Delgado hours to upload.
Yeah, we had Wygod on by himself once, and that was a great interview. I got actually a lot of, for real, comments from people outside of the area, Long Beach people that I knew that were really actually watched it because of him. When we had him back on, man, that was quite a long one. What about the shortest? So if that's the longest, then what was the shortest one?
When we had no guests. I think we did some short recap, winter into spring, and there was no guests. It was like 6.5 minutes.
Well, that would be pretty quick.
Yeah.
If all we're talking about is some scores or something, that's a quick one. So yeah, we've had a lot of guests who are non-students as well, besides them that we've talked about. I mean, Chief Lauterbach, Mandy Ortiz, former student, Jameel Douglas, former student, a lot of former students, Bug Rivera, Barb Bolton, Nick Selby, and Max Reza came on as a pair.
All alumni.
All alumni. That was great. Steve Fryer's been on a few times with some previews. Of course, Brad Pickler, the greatest softball coach in junior college history, was on.
That's right.
So it was really good to hear that. And of course, our 50th anniversary guests, lots of cool stuff.
That's right. So we've had alumni, we've had special guests, and then we've had some staff members as well. Some of our admin, like who?
I mean, Dr. Hodgson, Mr. Boardwine currently. We've had district office personnel. At the time, the district athletic director, Mitch Olson, was on. Assistant superintendent in charge of business who's helping with the fields here, Nancy Nien, was on.
That's right. After the groundbreaking ceremony, we had Miss Nien come in and talk about that.
Straight over from the field. I mean, yeah, we've had staff members who have really helped make the show. And after being an admin and a staff member, we even brought one on. And that's Mr. 5'4".
Mr. 5'4"
is on now. Pfeiffer, get up here. Where is Pfeiffer? Now, we're going to spin the tables here. You got a little prep here, but you usually do the question asking, but now we're going to ask some questions here. We used to have a segment called How Well Do You Know? Do you remember that segment?
I do.
Do you?
I do. I realized I don't know anything.
Well, we got a couple here to kind of throw at you. So we'll start with the first one. One of the times we asked, how well do you know Cypress? And one of the questions that students had to think about was, how do you spell centurions?
R-E-L-L-I-E-F, right? Or
Right.
Rolaids. Oh, see, I was trying to do the commercial and I spelled it all wrong anyway. Centurion, C-E-N-T-U-R-I-O-N.
S, yes, C. And most of the time those are misspelled with the A instead of the O. What about the address to the school? That was one.
9801. Valley View Street, Cypress, California, 90630.
Okay,
There it is,
good,
there it
good,
is.
good. Any others?
Well, my favorite how well do you know?
We're going to get to that.
Okay,
too.
all right, we'll save that. We'll save that.
What about
Oh.
others? What's his? What's his favorite? What's your
Oh,
favorite
yeah, what's your
one?
favorite?
My favorite, how well do you know?
Yeah.
The sounds, the sound effects.
Oh, the
one,
sounds,
Right?
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, the
One,
sounds,
right?
yeah.
There was a swoosh. There was a Miracle on Ice. There was some bass. Right? It was
Yeah.
pretty cool. And then you showed the Sports Weekly Fire.
So that was in the second Alien movie, right? When the alien was coming out. No, I don't know. Is that like Madden football or PlayStation 2? I don't know what that is. What the heck is that?
And no one got it, including me.
Yeah. There was a couple that were pretty tough on that.
They were good. I like the ones, how well do you know your coach? How well do you know your other players, right?
Yeah.
But I was a watcher back then, not a participant, right? Now I hate all of it.
Now you're all in. You're all in. All right. Well, hey,
Been fun.
gracias. Hey, what about others? Our all-time leader in appearances on the show. Take a wild guess who that might be.
Well, I know who it is, and it didn't have to.
It's on the screen.
It didn't have to be that person.
No.
But Coach Feldman gets a little camera shy after week one.
Yeah.
He gets locked away in his office watching film, so he sends over Coach Crooks, our all-time leader in appearances.
Coach Crooks.
Year
man,
in,
he's
year
killing
out.
it. Every single time he's the leader. Not far behind, I'm sure, Miss Monera. She is always there, a crowd favorite. She loves being on the show. And you can't, of course, we can't say Miss Monera without someone who watches the show. And if we don't mention Miss Park, then we're going to hear about it the next day too. So Miss Park as well, even though she hasn't really been on much, she's one of the fan favorite listeners.
Absolutely. Now, do you remember Monera's first time on the show and why she's been on the show so often after that?
Well, the first time, October 13, 2022, apparently. All right, we're here with senior film lit teacher and yearbook director April Monera. What is the position called in volleyball that wears a different colored jersey?
The libido. I know it starts with an L.
Why do water polo players use an egg beater technique?
So that they can have fresh omelets for after the game.
Yeah, she was a regular on the How Well Do You Know. Her answers were just incredible, right? I mean, whatever came to her mind, she would fire out. Sometimes they were close and sometimes they weren't, but they were just hilarious no matter what they were.
We were always trying to ask athletic, sports-related questions, and she knows absolutely nothing about that. So anything she associated a word with, she just went with, and it was super fun.
Except soccer, right? She was all in on the soccer ones. She was like, finally, I got something on it, right? I mean, unreal. Well, How Well Do You Know was a big hit. Obviously, we've moved on a little bit from that, but what about the first topic of How Well Do You Know?
Well, we started out with a bang. It was super funny. How well do you know Coach Feldman? And then we got to see the personalities of a few football players, and those personalities made one of them a regular guest as well. We had to go not sneak in his room, but we went over to his room, 5th period, Mr. McCooney's class.
Yeah.
And we grabbed him out, and I just see his face going, oh,
Yeah.
again? All right, we're here with senior linebacker Jacob Wilkie, senior center Elijah Gomez, senior Trevor Monteleone, wide receiver, free safety, senior running back Nathan Schneider. We got 3 questions for you on how well you know your coach Feldman.
And that was,
Trevor Monteleone.
of course, the famous
Oh, yeah.
Monteleone. We've had Wilkie on, Elijah Gomez, Nate Snyder, of course, Trevor and his questions. And Trevor gave maybe, quite honestly, the best answer we've ever heard on How Well Do You Know when he was asked, what year did Coach Feldman graduate from high school? And he responded with senior year. Yeah.
Graduated? Yeah.
Usually that's how it works.
Yeah.
Senior year.
Senior year. I mean, what else would you have? What else would you say?
I laugh every time I think about that one.
Oh, and his expression, because he really looked like a senior year. I mean, that's it. So
Yeah, so sincere,
funny.
so sincere. So we did the first year. We were on Google Meets all year. We had to be in different rooms. We had to have masks on, and finally we got those restrictions lifted, and we came into Mr. Delgado's studio here, and then we got to bring in guests in here. And our first one, of course, was,
I mean, it's got to be Coach Crooks. He is a regular.
of course, it was Crooksy.
Well, do you remember the first show? We got students. We went from having like coaches on and so on and students, and then we went to just student athletes by themselves. And we got lucky knocking it out of the park there with 3 girls that were phenomenal on the show. Like, awesome.
Yeah, Layla Agusa, not all graduates now, because
not quite.
Layla's graduated. Maya Collins, big personality.
Yeah.
And then Sarah Shigakawa, who's just a sweetheart, who's still here, basketball player who's a senior. So those girls were a lot of fun, showcase their personalities.
Yeah, for sure.
How about the first show? No guests at all.
No guests. I'll be honest, when they first, Mr. Delgado came up with all these topics here, and he asked who were the first, or was the first show with no guests at all. That was tough. I could not remember, but it was in March, and it was the legacy of sports at Cypress. I think we were kind of getting closer and talking about 50th and things like that, and we did the legacy of Cypress. So,
is there really a fair way to compare all those generations across the sport with stats and things like that?
Well, with someone like Dave, too, I think it was just a 3-year school at the time. So he probably would have been a 4-year varsity player.
that was a cool show, thinking back to that and all the great people that have been a part of athletics at Cypress.
All right, so we've had a handful of shows. Maybe this is our 5th one with no guests. But I don't know. I think we need other people in here, Coach.
I mean, maybe. We might just finish up here. Who knows? This might be the 100th episode and nobody watches it and we just call it good. Or maybe you'll see us next week. Either way, thank you so much for watching, tuning in each and every week. We know there are regulars out there who watch. Mr. Leptic, you are not forgotten. We could not go through this without announcing you. We know there's others like Coach Dole who watches it in class. Miss Park, as we talked about, who waits for us to say hi. And, of course, our wives who watch all the time.
All the time.
Maybe once. But they support us no matter what. It is pretty cool. Anyways, thanks to our sponsors, Subs and Grubs and Coach's Corner. Now, Subs and Grubs made a little announcement the other day. It's very saddening that they are not going to be able to continue with Subs and Grubs. And Subs and Grubs has been a staple of Cypress, and they're looking for someone to make that purchase and keep that business going. And we really hope that somebody does that so that we can continue to support Subs and Grubs like they've supported us over all these years. But with that said, Coach, awesome job. 100 episodes. Pfeiffer, great job. Mr. Delgado, again, awesome. And then to all the students, coaches, and anybody who's been a part of this, we thank you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. So we'll be back each week to bring you a little bit from the athletics side, and we hope you guys will come out and support us, be a part of the action. We'll see you out on the fields and courts. Thank you.
See you guys out there.